All right, I will call the June 23rd, 2025 meeting of the Newtown Township Board of Supervisors to order. I will note that the board did meet in executive session at 6 o'clock, where we discussed the following personnel matters. One was the discussion of the hiring position and pay raises, and the second one had to do with department restructuring. With that being said, Mr. Neese, please call the roll.
Mr. Altieri,
Here.
Ms. Roberts Lightcap,
Here.
Ms. Chanlis.
Here.
Mr. Russo,
Here.
Mr. San Francisco.
Here.
Your engineer, solicitor, and manager are here.
Thank you very much. We'll move down to item number 4, the moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. For the moment of silence, let's remember the first responders and the line workers who have been working in this extreme heat and working some long hours to make sure we get power back on and make sure that our community is safe. And we'll stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move down to number 5, agenda 5.1. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended? And I will note that on section 13.2, we will add with regards to our July meeting that we are shifting that date from July 14th to July 7th, 2025. And so with that amendment, I will make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was made by the chair, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Section 6, public comment for agenda items only. If there's any members of the public who have any public comment that they wish to provide related to an agenda item, please go up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. All right, perfect. We'll now move down to 7.1. Can I get a motion approving the minutes from the June 9, 2025 meeting?
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor San Francisco. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right. Section 8, resolutions of recognition, 8.1. Consider approving resolution 2025-16, honoring the Marple Newtown High School Boys Lacrosse Team 2025 PIAA Class 2A State Champions for the 3rd consecutive year. Supervisor Roberts Lightcap.
I'd like to make a motion that we pass resolution 2025-16, a resolution honoring the Marple Newtown High School Boys Lacrosse Team 2025 PIAA Class 2A State Champions. Whereas the Marple Newtown High School Boys Lacrosse Team has achieved remarkable success by winning the 2025 PIAA Class 2A State Championship, securing their 3rd consecutive state title. And whereas the team concluded the 2025 season with an impressive record of 18 wins and 6 losses, reflecting their hard work, determination, and commitment to excellence. And whereas in the state championship game, the Tigers delivered a dominant performance, defeating Trinity High School by a score of 20-7, showcasing their skill, preparation, championship mindset. And whereas the continued success of the program is a testament to the leadership of head coach Kevin Merchant and the coaching staff, who have cultivated a culture of teamwork, discipline, and sportsmanship. And whereas the student athletes of the boys lacrosse team have brought great pride and honor to Marple Newtown High School and the entire community. Now, therefore, be resolved, the Board of Supervisors of Newtown Township hereby congratulates and commends the Marple Newtown High School Boys Lacrosse Team for their 2025 PIAA Class 2A State Championship, their historic three-peat, and their outstanding season highlighted by a 20-7 victory over Trinity in the title game. That's my motion.
Motion was made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any board discussion?
I would just like to say, as a parent of an alumni of the class of 2022 boys lacrosse team, I am so proud of all of you, and I know all the hard work and dedication that you all put in, and your coaches give you guidance, and your parents, don't forget your mom and dad, and your grandparents and everyone else who supports you by taking you to practice, picking you up, letting you take the car to practice, trusting you to that, and going to your game. So you guys should be very, very proud of yourselves. It was a great job. And Coach, kudos to you on three-peat.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, we'll get you guys up here.
Always in the front.
Yeah, thank you. Remember, don't zoom out, if it's broken. Don't zoom out, I gotta stay on that.
Later, it's all about the back. Actually, the trophy.
All right. Yeah. Back row, back up to the podium, back up, Wes. Back up. Back up. Go down. Somerville, come on. Go down. Back up a little. Back up a little. Read all back. You got it. Straight back. There we go.
Somebody lay down.
Those young Wilkins, good job.
He likes it, actually.
He's doing Argus. He's another day Argus. Class, online class.
Figures, here. Hey, guys. Brett, hold up. Put a heart on it.
All right. I'll still probably go. I think I don't think you guys want to go upstairs.
I was afraid it was gonna start falling apart.
Well, if I held it at the
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Held that from the bottom.
That's good. He's only losing 8 guys.
Mhm.
I was still.
What was, Will,
And they didn't want him. Remember, they didn't want him?
Yeah.
what do you mean they don't want the coach?
Yeah, they didn't want Merchant.
Why?
They didn't want him. They
Where'd he come from?
they wanted somebody else.
Where'd he come from?
Homegrown. All right. Nine, appointment to the boards and commissions. 9.1. Can I get a motion to approve Brian McCullum to the Strategic Plan Steering Committee?
So move.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Robert Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Section 10, reports. Report from the Police Department. Chief Lund, do you have anything to add to your report? Go
I have nothing to add.
Thank you very much. 10.2, report from the Fire Department. Chief Young, do you have anything to add?
Great job, chief. I know it's been tough this couple days.
Yeah.
10.3, report from the Public Works Department. Director Sharretts, do you have anything to add?
I have nothing to add to the report.
Thank you very much. I do want to note for both George, Chief Young and Chief Lund, that we understand you guys have had a crazy couple of days, so we appreciate everything you guys have done. To our Public Works team, who with the emergency responders have been working around the clock, especially after that initial storm came by on Thursday. I think, George and I were having this conversation on Friday morning. If you drove down Westchester Pike and you got into Marple and Haverford, or you went some of the side streets and went down Upper Providence, their traffic lights were completely off or, just not functioning. from the investments that this board has made over the last couple of years, all of those intersections that we have the backup batteries. In the event that the backup batteries start dying, we have 22 generators sitting designated purely for the traffic lights in the public works garage that are now retrofitted so that we can hook up a generator to them. And it's extremely important. I was saying this to people, you know, it gives us the assurance to know that our system is still working, number one. Number two, it allows our public works team to do the number one thing, which is to clear the roadway when they can clear the roadway to ensure that our emergency responders can get there. And I think it's just a really important thing to note because you see, you know, you never can fully plan for any of these situations, but from working with our emergency management coordinator, from working with George, and George talking to the police department and fire department, I think that's one big piece of infrastructure that we've invested in over time that paid dividends, especially on Thursday and Friday. So George, thank you for pushing us along on that route and everyone else who played a role in it. And thank you to your team who's been out there, you know, like I said, as soon as the storm hit on Thursday.
Thank you all for the support.
And same thing with you, Chief Young and Chief Lund, for your guys as well. 10.4, report from the Codes Department. Director Rezchek, do you have anything to add to your report? He's not on? 10. Oh, sorry, you're on vacation.
On vacation.
10.5, report from the Finance Department. Director Barbine, do you have anything to add? 10.6, report from the Library Director, Ms. Caruso. I don't know if she's on.
No.
10.7, report from the Township Engineer, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening. Just to update on a few, kind of extending your same idea about the work the township is doing. Out of the recent rain events, we've had a few, we've been acting on a few of the drainage concerns that have come in. And to that end, we've been out with our survey crews and doing some evaluations of drainage in the area of Beechwood Road up against Greer, also in Northwood Road, Dutton Road, and Delmont Road area to try and address and come up with a plan for some ongoing drainage complaints for the township to invest in.
Any questions for the Township Engineer? All right, 10.8, report from the Township Manager, Mr. Neese.
Yes, I don't have a whole lot. I did want to do a couple quick updates related to the storm. I would make note, and I know you mentioned our emergency management team did go into action during that time. Spent a lot of time particularly focused on making sure that PICO was focused on the right places to get the most bang for the buck of getting people hooked back up. We had quite a few apartments that were impacted, and we were able to bring those back up. Most of those on Sunday. The last of those was today, and so we're good. I did just check. We still have 22 PICO customers without power, which is impacting by about 4 outages. So my guess is somewhere around 20 to 50 residents are still without power at this time based on kind of where they are located. So the good news is we're getting that number way down and bringing that back. I would make note for the public that there's been some information going out related to storm cleanup. I just want to make sure that everybody understands if they bring limbs to the township, it needs to only be limbs. If you put trash in it, if you put vines and poison ivy and those kind of things in it, we have to separate all that before we touch it and before we deal with it. And in order to do that, that means our team has to go in and pull that apart. And I have several of our folks that are very allergic to poison ivy and those kind of things. The trash is a problem. If it becomes more trash and more than limbs, we will have to shut that service down because it's taking too long to go through it. So please make sure it's only limbs and it's only branches. And we're glad to take those and process those. It's the same size that's advertised that we're going to do the curb pickup in 2 weeks. We're happy to go and do that at your pace and take care of that. You don't have to bring it to the township. We will take care of it, but we wanted to give everybody time to clean up their yards, get it out to the curb, and we will come through, make sure that you fill out the form so that we will know what order we're going to go in around the township. And George's team will start and they will go through the entire township one time to make sure that they get all the ones that have turned, all the people that turned in forms, they will go through and do that.
So, the branches and trees that we've pushed on the shoulder or the sides of the roads just to clear them,
Yes,
who's responsible for that? Is that the township? Is that the red?
typically the property
Property,
owner.
okay.
But we'll look at the ones that if we pushed them off the road, that we're at least, if we can at least clean up enough so that the edge of the
Okay.
road is clear. But it's typically the property
Okay,
owner's
thank you.
responsibility.
Mr. Zaror,
Yeah,
can we require the owner of the building that rents to Alta and the state liquor store to put cameras in to help assist our police department? We continually have every month numerous robberies that they just will not call until after the people leave. Is there any reason why we can't put an ordinance in for nuisance robberies that take up our police's time to put in a camera system in that catches these doors if the owners of the or the renters or leasees of the buildings will not do it?
Not aware of any authority to make
Can
that.
we look at that?
Look at it.
Can we pass an ordinance?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not aware of any of the authority that would allow us to do that. I can take a look at it.
Or maybe just reach out, Mr. Neese, to the owner of the shopping center. It's not PPG anymore, and just let them know that we're not happy that we continually send people there after the fact.
well, Chris and I actually talked to, one of our vendors allowed us to use a camera tower in that parking lot. While it was there, we actually we actually reduced the number of activities. So we're going to, I've asked Chris, we're going to put together a piece to go to those kind of locations and recommend those camera towers. I think if you go to like Home Depot, some of those
Every
places,
Lowe's has them.
Lowe's has them. It is a deterrent and it works pretty well. And so we're going to be recommending those. And it's an investment, but it's not a terrible investment, particularly if you're losing thousands of dollars every time there's a robbery.
Once I mean, it's all this money. It's, now it's going to the liquor store.
Yes.
Chief was very proactive in trying to get that camera tower, that mobile tower in there. And it was unbelievable. It worked awesome. It's just, when they need to move that somewhere else.
Oh, this
center should
owner,
put cameras.
this center should put cameras in. If he's not willing to do it, he should at least get the trailer in there to deter it.
That's
Thank
what we're
you.
trying, that's what we're working on.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for the township manager? Section 11, payments 11.1. Can I get a motion approving the following township escrow account release that has been approved by a third-party professional completed work? 3512 Horton Road for $331.50. Motion was made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. 11.2, can I get a motion approving the following two payments to be paid that are not on the current check register? The check will be processed and properly signed and issued after being issued. DCIU Healthcare Trust for $84,660.85 and United Concordia for $5,005.78.
Second.
Motion was made by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Director Caruso, because you just walked in, do you have anything you need to add to your report? All right, thank you very much. No, hey, look, I didn't want you to wait if you had something, so. Section 12, bills, 12.1. I get a motion approving the bills on the check register dated June 23rd, 2025, totaling $358,196.57. Motion is made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Section 13, new business, 13.1. Can I get a motion approving the hiring of Claudia Rodriguez as a codes administrative support person at $25 an hour, contingent on passing all required background checks?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Chandler, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 13.2, can I get a motion to move the July meeting from July 14th, 2025 to July 7th, 2025?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Roberts Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Section 14, ordinances. Can I get a 14.1? Can I get a motion approving ordinance 2025-03? An ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Newtown, Chapter 165, Vehicles and Traffic, to add stop signs at Fourth Avenue on Gilbert Street, Berman Street, Malley Street, and Morton Street. Supervisor San Francisco.
Township of Delaware County Ordinance 2025-03, an ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Newtown, Chapter 165, Vehicles and Traffic, to add stop signs at Fourth Avenue on Gilbert Street, Berman Street, Malley Street, Morton Street, Rodney, and Surrey. Board of Supervisors of the Township of Newtown hereby ordains Section 1, the Code of the Township of Newtown, Chapter 165-1, stop intersection designated is hereby amended to add the following Section 165, 1D, Larchmont Square, Dogwood. 165-1D, north on Gilbert and Fourth. 165, 1D, 12, north on Berman Street at Fourth. 165, 1D, 13, north on Malley Street at Fourth. 165, 1D, 14, north on Morton Street at Fourth Avenue. And then Rodney and Surrey Drive. This ordinance shall take effect and force after this approval in accordance with Pennsylvania law approved by the board this day, 23rd day of June, 2025. Board of Supervisors for Newtown Township. That is my.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Supervisor San Francisco, seconded by Supervisor Robert Lightcap. Is there any board discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Section 15, board comment. Is there any board comment?
I just have a question. Just refresh my memory because we're doing these stop signs in that neighborhood. We're also looking at the sides of the streets, the no parking. Are we still?
Yes, I have been meeting with the both the police chief of the fire company and George. We're going to put something together for you at your next meeting to just kind of give you a heads up of where we are.
It just came to my mind, that's all.
One of the things that we didn't discuss last time, but it's relevant, and is that recall that there's a 30-foot no parking zone in front of every stop sign. And so just by virtue of the ordinance you just passed, there'll be a 30-foot no parking on that side of the street as you approach each intersection, and that's enforceable. So that may solve what you want to do.
They'll take that.
We're going
Well,
to.
that'll be taken into consideration.
That's going to be
when we
taken
do
into
that.
account.
Okay.
And that's kind of where we were leaning. I think it actually serves its purpose pretty well. We're clarifying one thing just to make sure that we understand it clearly, but that's what part of what will come back as our recommendation.
Can you remind, because I feel like we talked about this once before, but with regard to, are we looking into putting a stop sign or something near where you come out of Whole Foods? And Wawa, where I
Widely.
almost get killed every day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
On Clyde, yeah, we
It's
were
so
looking
dangerous.
into that. Let me follow up and figure out where we've got that, because I know that's been an issue.
Can I piggyback off that? Because I know we've had conversations with Equus on this, but something with regards to the ingress and egress where the Hilton Garden Inn, going across Winding Way into the new phase of that shopping center. I know that with regards to both vehicular and pedestrian access, it's becoming more and more compounded.
There is a complete plan that I believe.
So I can add, Equus actually had been in the process, we had gone through a few meetings between us and the township to come up with a plan that was gonna have better control for the cars and actually have pedestrian crossings at the intersection. I think they had a change in staff over at Equus that seemed to have slowed that down a little bit, but they were working towards, they had their traffic engineer preparing an actual plan to improve that whole intersection.
Can you ping them and just find out, like, if we can talk about it or at least get something from the next meeting? I think it would be helpful. Because obviously with it being nice out, more and more people are walking.
And that was exactly them as the property on both sides were recognizing that, and that was what was
Yeah.
leading them towards that.
Good. Eric, speaking about that and pedestrian access, I know that there was conversation before, and if we need to take it offline, we can take it offline, about lead time for pedestrians to cross, Westchester Pike. There's certain intersections where we are encouraging individuals to do more pedestrian walking. But if you are, like, for instance, coming out of, Charles Ellis Drive, going across Westchester Pike, when you're walking across the westbound lanes, you have the green symbol to walk. At the same time, the cars have the left-hand turn arrow to go. So you get through the eastbound, you get through the westbound side completely fine because those cars aren't moving. But as the cars are coming behind you to make the left to go into the eastbound lane, you know, so there needs to be, I know there's conversations about redoing that timing to allow for lead time for pedestrians. I think that we should have that conversation again. Might not be a conversation necessarily with Equus, but I think this board should definitely have a conversation for you to identify some of those pedestrian heavy intersections where those situations are present for us to be able to adjust it as, you know, however, beg PennDOT as much as we can.
Right, and yes, that can be evaluated. That process would be updating the traffic signal plans that deals with the timing of the intersections. But that is something that can be evaluated.
Yeah, and I'm not, I mean, I know I talked to a couple of the board members on this. I'm not talking about every single intersection, but where there's those situations.
The key locate
Well, where you're getting a
Yeah.
green arrow at the same time as a car is getting a, you know, green, excuse me, where you're getting the green man symbol to walk, the same time a car is getting a green arrow to make a left or a right that comes into your line of traffic. And yes, pedestrians have the right of way, but I can't tell you how many times when I used to live over in the Heights and I was walking my daughter, that stroller almost got clipped numerous times. I mean, so no one's paying attention to a regular person, let alone a guy pushing a stroller. You know what I mean? So I think that it's important for you to identify those intersections and for us to have a conversation on how we can go about.
Okay.
What else can we pile on the staff tonight? You guys aren't gonna see us for a little bit, you know?
My report wasn't long enough already.
Derek, don't let do it.
I will now move down to section 16, public comment. If there's any members of the public who have any public comment, please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record. All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.